if I showed up on Raleigh's doorstep here, she'd be calling the cops. But, you know, defund the police, let the social workers handle it.
If they're running. Even the cops don't like you guys.
They just respond to you guys because you call in and waste their resources and yet want to defund them. Call your social worker, send her down. I'd like to talk to her.
Hey, Don, I was going to start off and talk about the conversation with Tiffany in the Second Amendment March, but prior to that, I was going to I saw a question in the chat and I was just going to kind of go back to that and then move on.
Yeah, let's have you address that comment. Then I have one quick comment about the second, and then we can start talking about other topics.
Yeah. So the question I saw, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was like, it mentioned that officers were in the area and the Patriots followed Raleigh and her group, and that was harassment. Why wasn't something done right then? And it was a week later before anything happened. Yeah, there were 3 officers on duty for the whole city on Saturday. The officers had other calls for service during the time that the peace and justice walkers and the Patriots are out there. So even though they're trying to keep an eye on that, we have responsibilities to the community as a whole. And one of the calls for service were young children out on the ice at Park de Vida. On thin ice. So the officers responded there for obvious safety reasons and to get the children to safety. And then another call was a theft in progress in town. So they responded to that. So I can't say where the officers were when the Patriots were following Raleigh.
Can't see it. 12:13. Okay. As long as y'all feel safe being out with us, we're going to stay till 12:30. And then we're going to go unless things become uncomfortable, then we'll walk back together. Thank you.
Wake up, America!
But I would venture to guess that they were probably dealing with something else somewhere else in the community.
Black Lives Matter! Fuck Black Lives Matter!
Full of hate.
Fucking idiots!
Every life matters.
Get down on your knees. Raise your
All lives matter, bitch!
Show everybody how clueless and easily manipulated.
All lives matter, you fucking idiots!
Socialistic.
So I just wanted to address that real quick. The Second Amendment march that the Patriots wanted to do, they wanted to march downtown in public with their ARs, their long rifles and everything, which is legal. They could have done that, but I felt that was not a good representation of our community. I didn't think it was a good idea. Based on the political environment and what's been going on. And so I just reached out to Tiffany and we just had conversation and we discussed, the pros and cons. The pros were few and the cons were large. And she just agreed to not do that. And I was very grateful for that. Had she said, no, we're going to do it anyway, we'd have had the conversation. There wouldn't have been much we could have done. They could have marched. So, that's really the relationship. And I know a question that come in or that was on that document that Raleigh posted was the and I'm going to flip to it if I can find it real quick, but it was about the relationship with J Fargo's, where the people from the department receive gifts and funding. Do you see how this can give the appearance that we're looking the other way for financial incentive? And then there was another that said, right, seems to be a serious conflict of interest or bias with this relationship, perhaps even bribery. So the relationship that the police department has with J Fargo's is, it's really not a relationship. J Fargo's, they have an event that's called Tip a Cop, where police officers come and are servers at the restaurant. During the day or during that business day, all gratuities that are left by the patrons are then giving, J Fargo's takes and gives to, I don't know exactly which one it is. I thought it might be Child Advocacy Center, but I could be wrong. But they give it to one of the nonprofits in town. So we do participate in that, and we do that because it's for the community. It's not for J Fargo's, and it's not for the police department. It's because the police department wants to do for the community. Another thing that kind of ended up at J Fargo's is the high school has a group that put together Shop with a Cop for Christmas. The Pinion Project identifies children that that are in need, and they give a list of names. We give them a gift card. It was $150 this year. And then we, law enforcement from everywhere, we had national parks, we had BLM officers, sheriffs, police, everybody. And we take children to Walmart and let them get gifts. And it's the first year I've ever participated. Wasn't around, I was here before, and I'll tell you, it was a great program. It was so much fun going around with those children and watching them purchase gifts. So the reason it ended up at J Fargo's is last year, the high school's kitchen, something went wrong with the kitchen. Usually the group, they bring the officers in, they bring the kids in, and they bring the kids' families in before we take them and go. Because it was J Fargo's give their kitchen up to allow that to happen. And that was last year. This year, because of COVID and school being down, the high school didn't do the program. So we, the police department, mostly Vern Rucker, really jumped through a bunch of loops and got that Shop with a Cop program going. Reach out to J Fargo's to see if we could use them again, and they agreed. And so the program went on. So the funding portion of it is, I guess, J Fargo's made support law enforcement t-shirts for their employees earlier this summer. Patrons really liked the t-shirts, so they made a bunch more of them and they started selling them. They contacted me, hey, can we give you this money? I told them, no, you can't even give it to the city. It's a Tabor thing. You have to keep it or whatever. We can't have it. And they were fine with that. So Vern Rucker, years ago, when DARE first started, there was a group of citizens. I tried finding out who they were. But they developed a 501(c), is that correct? A nonprofit organization called Friends of Dare. That is held at Fourth and Associates. They manage that, and we have no control over that money. We don't control the account at all. What happens is when Dare needed some supplies or Shop with a Cop, he would go to the board of that nonprofit and get it okayed, get signatures, and Fourth and Associates would give Vern money, and he would use that to buy Dare supplies or whatever. So it's my understanding that the t-shirt money went to Friends of Dare at Fourth and Associates. Vern Rucker then took that money along with some money that was donated by a couple here in town that wished to remain anonymous. They donated $1,000. Anyway, we combined all of that money and bought the gift cards for Shop with a Cop. So that's what funded the Shop with a Cop. So Fargo's is offered, has also offered like a free meal. But that is for the entire first responder community here. If Fargo's just said, hey, just for the Cortez Police Department, we want to give you free burgers, we absolutely would never participate in that. So when they offer all first responders, it's the Southwest Memorial Ambulance, it's Fire Department, Mancos Marshal, Sheriff's Office, Colorado State Patrol, National Park Service, everybody is allowed. They bring them in and for appreciation, give them a hamburger and some fries. And we have, our officers have, and I haven't, but officers have participated in that. I don't feel that there's a conflict of interest when it's offered in the first responder community. They're not singling out one agency. They're just showing their support for first responders. And we would probably support any other business that did that as well. And it's up to the officer. If they want to go, they will. And there's officers that won't go because of what's going on, and I understand that.